that President Obama is going all out on this.
Yeah, absolutely. This is part of the president's PR blitz after those announcements earlier this week on executive action on gun control. And I thought last night was an interesting way to do it. The president could certainly make another speech. He could go off and hold an event that the local Democratic group gives out tickets to, just like all presidents do. But instead, last night, he did this event with CNN where he took some really tough questions, some very pointed, sharp questions from opponents of what he's trying to do. And I think that made for a very thoughtful and civil conversation. And those are two words that are not often used when it comes to the debate over gun control.
Yeah. One of them, was it not the American sniper's wife who was one of the people who asked the questions?
Yes. Taya Kyle stood up and talked about why she doesn't think that anything that the president is proposing would make people safer. Because she said murderers don't have a moral code. She said that the background checks that the president is looking to expand wouldn't have stopped any of the recent mass shootings. That's, of course, a criticism that even some people who are in favor of more gun control say, but it's not the right type of gun control. This gave the president an opportunity, I think, to push back, but do so in a way that I thought just elevated the conversation more than if he was just making bullet points in a speech.
So where does this go from here? I mean, it's one thing to have a PR effort, but he doesn't have the support in the Congress to get anything done.
Right, but he doesn't have to because of what he did the other day with executive actions. That's why he didn't go through Congress and didn't go the legislative route, because they weren't going to do anything with him on this. So what the president proposed earlier this week on background checks essentially expands on guidelines that are already on the books at the ATF and doesn't require congressional approval. It doesn't mean Congress isn't going to try to undermine that in some way through either legislation or withholding funding for some different programs. And of course, you can expect some legal challenges from groups that are opposed to the president's executive actions.
He invited a diverse group, but the NRA wasn't there.
The NRA was invited and declined to participate in what they called a public relations spectacle orchestrated by the White House. This was a CNN event. Yes, it was invitation only. And having worked on many town meetings, live television town meetings, you book the audience in order to get a diverse range of opinions. If everybody just showed up for an event for President Obama, you could have just supporters, and that doesn't really make for a very good event. Or you just have people who are opposed to it. You want to have a thoughtful exchange of ideas. But the NRA said that this was stacked for the president. They weren't going to get equal billing. They didn't want to just be a participant. So they declined to participate, but certainly weren't quiet last night using social media to tweet out their responses.
I would love to have seen a debate between the NRA and the president. That'd be must viewing, I guess.
And the president says he's happy to have that debate. He says he would love to sit down with officials from the NRA to discuss this, but as he said, it has to be a conversation, quote, based on facts, not what he called imaginary fiction, this conspiracy that he said that he's trying to take away guns.
Karen Travers, ABC News in Washington. Have a good weekend, Karen. Thanks.
You too.
6:55, Big 550, KTRS.